and welcome to Sell Me Fire. My name is Chris Exusion. You can find me at Chris Ebom on Twitter, www.riseandfirebets.com. It's that time of the week. Sell Me Fire. I'm always looking to rise and fire on a play. And I got a special guest here. I'm not going to lie. I'm really excited. The dude's been following me on Twitter. He's decided to make his own channel. Great DFS guy. He specializes in the Showdown, which you don't see a whole lot, but I love what he's doing. He's gaining good steam, great knowledge, and I had to have him on. He's got to sell me on a play because I'm so excited to have him on because, hey, I'm always looking to make a play, and especially in the DFS world, and it's James. PGA DFS Showdown Hoedown, the Degenerate 75. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm excited. It's Memorial Week, man. This is going to be big purse, $12 million, tough course, big rough. It's going to be a tough course to score on for the most part, it's going to look like. But, yeah, we're getting into it, man. This season's been awesome.
Yeah, it's been a great season. I love these tracks where the winning score is not like minus 21. Like, I bet we're going to see something more like around minus 10 this week. And those are my favorite kind of contests because if you know anything about my brand, I'm all about fading that chalk. And a week where all the chalk can bite the dust is a week I love.
Absolutely, man. But hey, I'm looking for some fire this week. I need a good DFS play. You're the DFS guy. You've been putting out some good info, gaining good steam. People were watching. I had to have you on. Sell me fire, man. What do you got for me?
So I spent like all the way up until this show, I've been like debating between two guys. And I think about 5 minutes before we went on, I finally made up my mind who I'm going to go with. And I got to tell you that the play this week is Will Zalatoris. Why is it Will? I mean, it's simple. Everybody loves to overreact to one poor week. Was Will terrible last week and missed the cut when everybody played him? Yes. But I mean, what a terrible spot he was in there. Like, you can't expect him to not have a letdown from the PGA Championship and to come out there and not emotionally be there. Were his irons bad? Yes, they were terrible last week. But like, if I know anything about Willie Z, his irons can bounce back. People are going to look at him. They're going to say, oh, he missed the cut last week. I can't play him. He let me down last week and killed my 6 of 6. I can't play him. Or he hasn't played here since 2018. And I think he missed the cut that year. I can't play him. But like, when I think of guys who play long, tough courses really well, like the prototypical guy I think of is Will Zalatoris. And if you tell me that I'm going to be able to get him at discounted ownership because everybody's upset with him, I can't think of a better play. A guy who's striking the irons, a guy who's ball striking, and a guy who plays long, difficult course as well. And don't forget that one time he did play here, he picked up over 3 strokes on approach that week. So I think Will Zalatoris is about as good of a pick as you can have this week.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a hard sell for me. I'm not going to lie. I'm looking at him for the betting outright market. I think you're going to get good value on him there. I mean, you're going to be tee to green. This is a tee to green kind of course. The irons are important. He's very good with the off the tee, long drives, accurate, good drives, if you will. GIR machine. And I love the fact that you bring that up. You know, he burned you last week. Don't be salty with these players. They do have bounce backs. Like, yeah, golf is hard. Golf's fucking hard, right? And I mean, it's a tough sport. I mean, I tried playing. I know you're trying to play. You know, it's tough, man. And there's some bad days. Some courses don't fit these guys well. There's hangovers. There's a bunch of things that go on with this. And I'm right there with you. I'm not jumping off Willie Z either. I like him in the DFS market. What do you think you're seeing him at the percentage-wise at the end of the day?
I mean, I would be shocked if he came in at more than 12%. And I think you could maybe see him as low as 10. I mean, you just got to look at all the names around him. Like, I just think that there's like, I mean, you got Lowry and Fitz, just a few $100s less than him. And they're going to absorb so much ownership that why would you pay $400 more for a guy that you can have the guy you feel much more safer about, Shane Lowry or Matthew Fitzpatrick, at a cheaper price, who seem much safer. I just think that that's going to be something that's really going to keep his ownership suppressed. And I just know people are going to want to go to John Rahm, and there's no way you can get Rahm, Will Zalatoris, and Lowry in a lineup. You can't do it. So if you want to go Rahm or Rory, you automatically are dropping down to the lowest of the 9s or the high 8s. If they start building Rahm, Rory, the next pick always in is going to be a Shane Lowry or a Cam Young almost every time. And that leaves a guy like Will Zalatoris getting left out.
Yeah, and also with his putting, I know everyone gives him crap about his putting and everything, but if you look at what he did at Augusta, he was absolutely fantastic putting the ball. It's going to be those fast, undulating, fast greens. I think this fits right into his wheelhouse when it comes to his putting, and I think that's even more of a narrative that I think it's getting kind of overlooked, if you will, because everything shown on social media is like, oh man, he misses all these the yips with the
Mhm.
couple close putts and everything, but he hits like these 12-foot bombs like no problem. I
Right.
think that's way overplayed, honestly. If you want to talk about yips, Spieth has been the guy that you can almost guarantee him once a week. That's like he misses that 2-footer every week. It didn't burn him at the RBC Heritage, but it has been good any other times. But I like where you're at here with Willie Z.
Yeah, Willie. I mean, to me, Willie Z. You said the thing about his putting is like, I feel like the best comp course out there, and I've heard this from a lot of the smartest people in the industry, is Augusta. And Willie
Mhm.
Z has a pretty stellar record at Augusta. And so, if that's going to be kind of our baseline of how he might perform on some big greens, I mean, when Jack Nicklaus built the course, he wanted to basically make it the Augusta of the North.
Mhm.
And if I know that that's what this course is going to be, and I know that Willie Z is very comfortable on those green complexes, well, there goes my biggest fear is now alleviated. Is that can he putt? And I've already seen it at the Masters, so I'm all in on a 12 to maybe 14% Willie Z if he gets hyped up enough by the right people in the industry.
Yeah, and honestly, though, I mean, he's gonna win. It's only a matter of time. We talked about this with Scotty Scheffler before. It's like, oh, when is he gonna win? And then he finally won, and he starts ripping them off. I mean, Willie Z's that good with the irons. That could possibly happen to him at some point. This is a guy that has some really good pedigree. That's had to prove himself to be on the tour. Last year, he was playing for his player card, and he was playing fantastic. I think he plays really well here. I'm playing him on the outright market, and I'm going to make him a pretty big staple in my DFS line. So if he's going to be that low owned, I think it's kind of a must play. And that's an easy sell for me, James.
I mean, I'm glad. I mean, I don't want too many people to buy in on him because I don't want him getting above 12%. But I will tell you, the last time that he actually lost 3 strokes on approach, like he did last week at the Charles Schwab, was way back at Rocket Mortgage about a year ago. And then he bounced back the very next week with a great irons week. So, like, if you're freaking out because his irons were off for 1 week, I mean, if there's one guy I can think of that I'm not worried about consistent iron work, it is Willie Z. So I'm in.
Yeah,
you
absolutely,
can't
man.
get me off of him. I'll eat, even if he does become chalk, I'll eat it. I'll eat a little bit of chalk, not too much.
You what, like 20%? 20%?
Oh, don't say 20%. 20% is like a triggering number for me. 20%. that's like a threshold in my chalk mind that I just struggle to get over. So let's just say 16.
Okay, so I got to ask you one question about DFS before I let you go, because this is on my head. I've been learning, more and more about DFS. I've been more on the betting side, but this year I really want to make more of a push on the DFS side. I do my article write-ups for riseandfirebets.com, a cut above DFS plays for my favorite plays for each salary position, everything. I'm starting to look at percentages as far as like as a total whole. If you're looking at building a lineup, are you looking at a certain percentage threshold you're trying to hit when you're doing that? Or are you just simply just picking what golfers you think are going to do good and you don't really care about the percentage as much?
So I eliminate that problem just by my player pool selection. Like
Okay.
on any given week, I'll go look at who I project to be the 10 most popular golfers that week. Anybody, who's going to usually be over 14% or higher is usually going to be in the top 10 golfers. And out of those, at most, on the worst week of my life, I'll play 2 or 3 of those 10. I mean, when I say I fade the chalk, I fade the chalk. Like some weeks I'll fade all 10 of them if I think it's really going to be a crazy week out there. So when you do that, when you've already eliminated 7 or 8 of the most popular players in the weekly pool, and I love to go find those diamonds in the rough that are going to be 1 or 2% that literally no one is talking about, then you don't really have to worry about ownership. I don't have to think, ooh, does this one have too much? Is it too chalky or whatever? Because I've already eliminated so much of that out of the way just by creating my player pool that I literally don't even give it a thought. I've been doing this very competitively for about 4.5 years, and never once have I had a duped lineup. So if that doesn't show you that I'm doing a good job of staying away from the mainstream, then I don't know what would.
No, man, that's actually a really good point. I mean, you're eliminating the top like 10% pool pretty much for the most part. And then after that, you're just building your lineups, not overthinking it, just using your knowledge of who you think is going to play well. You're not thinking about the percentages as a whole, like being 50% owned with your whole team or anything like that.
Yeah.
So just that alone with that 10% group that you're only playing 1 or 2, maybe 3, that leaves so much more room for you to just, make whatever lineup you want. And then you won't even be that high in percentages anyway, because you're not playing a lot of the chalk. So I get it. And I think that's great.
Yeah. Just one more thing to think about that is when you are playing a whole bunch of guys that are not chalky, you can just really balance your exposure the way you want. If you say, I really want to have 20% of this guy in my lineups, well, then I just get to put him in 20% of my lineups and not have to be careful to make sure that he's not in my chalky lineups or my non-chalky lineups. I just put him in the lineups and get 20% exposure to him, and then boom, I'm done, because I've already taken all of the percentage guesswork out of it by just fading all the chalk players, because let's not forget, this is PGA golf, and these guys, are highly volatile on any given week.
No, absolutely, you're right. But hey, thanks again for being on again, James. I appreciate it, man. Awesome to have you on. I love your content. You can find him at TheDegenerate75 on Twitter, and his YouTube channel, Hoedown Showdown, man. And what days is that on? Nights and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so we're now going to a live stream every Wednesday night, kind of covering week long and any round 1 showdown and weather and stuff like that. And then I always put out a recorded show Friday night for the round 3 showdown, and one Saturday night for round 4 showdown. I'm trying to keep that really consistent, because I can't tell you how many times I have to answer that on Twitter in a given week. So that is the schedule. I build my whole week around it. I'm literally doing an overnight trip to Texas tonight to get back so that I don't miss my stream tomorrow, so people aren't like, what happened to your stream? So these are the things I do for my people.
Absolutely, man. It's awesome. Steady schedule. The people will love it. They know when to tune in. And thanks again, guys, for checking out Sell Me Fire on www.riseandfirebets.com. And let's make that money.